Chaz Hashem. So, when it comes to believing in Hashem, developing an intimate relationship with God, which is really the key of everything, that's the name of the game, is how can you move through this world with the most intimate relationship with Hashem possible. Ledovka boy sit back, to be like God, to be close to God. Mahu rachum, afatarachum, just like God is compassionate, you should be compassionate. Mahu chanun, just like God is graceful, so too you should be graceful. To be like God, to develop qualities to be like God, because closeness in physicality is measured in distance, but closeness in spirituality is measured in similarity. Which means the more similar I could become like God, the more close I could be. And God is spiritual, so I need to develop spiritual qualities. One of the most quintessential elements of God is that God is simple. When we say the deepest Kabbalistic reference to God is that God is the Or HaPashut, the simple light. Absolute simplicity, just pure light. Not even referring to the essence of God, referring to the highest thing that we could even speak about. That there's this pure, simple relationship, this being. So we have to make sure that sometimes we get very complicated in this world and we try to make all sorts of interesting, complex decisions in life. And oftentimes just keeping things very simple is very important. And as we're going to be going towards Pesach together, we want to remember Pesach is the holiday of simplicity. The food that we eat is so simple on Pesach. This is matzah. This is maror. That's it. Here's a cup, 4 cups of wine. Hashem loves us. He took us out of Egypt. Everything is very simple on Pesach. The entire Passover Seder is meant to be simple. Don't go to any Passover Seder where it's like too complex. Because really the Passover Seder has to be able to be so simple that you could give it the entire experience over to your 4-year-old. And if you can't explain the Passover experience to a 4-year-old, it means that you yourself don't really understand what's going on. You might be, 50 PhDs on the wall, but if you can't bring it down for a 4-year-old to grasp it, it means you're missing something. Something is not simple. And we want to bring things back to their simple essence. I want to tell a story about something very simple. About a sadly too common of a story for the Jewish people over the last number of thousand years. And a common thing that came to the Jewish people for a long, long time was that there was always certain people that wanted to have debates with the Jews. Now, you can imagine a lot of these debates weren't always in good character in order to actually have the value of the ideas being evaluated. Oftentimes, these were debates that would be skewed just to see who seems to be winning the debate, but not really the value of the ideas. That's a real debate. Sadly, nowadays, if you actually watch debates, it's actually quite sad. The level of quality debating is like, I don't want to say how much it's degraded. We say that it's about the quality, it's about the strength of your argument, not the volume of your voice. Or the cunningness of your lashon hara, and just how much you can make fun of the next guy. Oh, he made such a funny joke. Oh yeah, he won. I'll tell you something. It's so obvious that they had this debate between Pence and Kamala. So afterwards, people talk about the debates to show who do we think won the debate. Now, I just want you to appreciate just how much we've degraded in our speaking about how debates go. So I'm commenting on how much we've degraded to show that the comments on the debate were so much not what quality debating is all about, and commenting on quality debating. One of the comments, a main thing that was pointed out, was that at some point in that debate, I understand that a fly flew onto the head of Mike Pence. Okay? And the ones that were discussing the debate made a big deal to point out that that fly was there, and therefore, and they put on like masks and hats, and like, oh, you know, he had a fly on his head. So what? Like, what did that have to do with the strength of his argument? But because people are so easily manipulated, oh, there's a fly on the head, so he must have lost the debate. You hear that? Okay, just the nature of how debating goes nowadays is sad. And one of the things that would exist over the thousands of years is that it was known that idol-worshipping cultures would want to have debates with rabbis. And oftentimes there were emperors that they wanted to see. So, you know, you bring your best man and you bring your best, and each person to bring the best one. Now, by the way, in those days, it wasn't like a gentleman's handshake at the end. It was whoever loses, off with his head. So the best person we had in the times of the Gemara, his name is Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya. Nowadays, it's probably Rabbi Berger. Right? And yeah, Baruch Hashem, we have there's people that have strength of argument, that have basis behind their points. One of the first tips in debating is actually address the points that the other person is making. Speak to that point, answer the point that was made, and bring a rebuttal to the actual thing that they said. And even stronger than that is to bring what we call in yeshivas bevorning, meaning before your opponent has something that he's going to say back, you could say, and if my opponent says this, well, I already have an answer to that question. Response, and he's like, I was about to say that, but you answered the exact, a rebuttal to what I would have said. So that's actual debating, is strength of argument. Okay? That's called bevorning. The Gemara does that all the time, so we learn Gemara all day long. Is learning how to actually debate points. That's why you'll notice, the more you learn Gemara, when somebody could be engaged in some debate and then they make a total comment that has nothing to do with the discussion, you learn how to call it out. You say, how was that a response to the point just made? Because the Gemara is on point. Everything is literally addressing the point that was made. And if the Gemara doesn't do it, then someone in the Gemara points that out. Why did you not address the point that was just made? And then they say, really, I was addressing this point. And everything has to be accounted for. So back to us. There was a time in Europe where there was a certain idol-worshipping constituency. And there was one particular high priest of this idol-worshipping group. And he wasn't that good at debating. And he got very, very angry. And what he wanted to do is he said, I'm going to find a Jew, and if I win the debate, and we're going to take this to the local ruler and to the judges, and if I win the debate, then it's not going to be good for the Jews. And if they win, so then I will either go into exile or I will have my life. But I'm so confident. And it happened to be that people were very scared to engage in this debate because he was extremely committed on winning and nobody wanted to have their life taken. And nobody stepped up. It's a bit reminiscent of David and Goliath. Until David steps up. So nobody wanted to step up to the plate. Okay. Nobody wants to step up to the plate. And there's one simple Yid, a simple Jew that says, I'll go. Now, they weren't so excited with this opportunity. Here you have some very high-powered, idol-worshipping, really wants to destroy. And here you have some simpleton that wasn't so learned. How was he going to answer these complex philosophical questions on the creation of the world, on the nature of God's oneness? Are you able to worship intermediaries? He wasn't so learned, seemingly. So everybody was nervous, and they were in the town square, with like the torches. And it's like, the set and setting was all ready to go. And the king was there with the judges. And they say, okay, Jew, you can have the first question. So the Jew says, what does Eineni Yodea mean? What does the words Eineni Yodea mean? So what did the opponent say? I don't know.
That's right.
So the judges said, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. Off with his head. He doesn't know. Meaning, Eineni Yodea means I don't know. It's Hebrew. I don't know. So he said, he doesn't know, but they didn't know that. They just said, he said, I don't know. He doesn't know. I don't know. Off with his head. And I was, yeah! So they came, it's a good one, right? So they came to this Yid out and said, how did you think of such an unbelievable question? That's unbelievable. How did you think of such a thing? Now listen to his answer. You might have thought it's going to be like some unbelievable... He said, I'll tell you, I'm not very learned. I'm a simple Yid. And I have a Chumash with Rashi that I learned. And in the Chumash with Rashi, my Hebrew skills aren't so good. I'll tell you the truth. And it happens to be that in my Chumash Rashi, it's translated, the Rashi, into Yiddish. I speak Yiddish. I don't know so much Hebrew. And I noticed that there's certain times that Rashi himself says, on the verse Eineni Yodea, so Rashi says there, versteh nicht. Versteh nicht. That's Yiddish for I don't know. So the Yiddish translated Rashi. Rashi says, I don't know. So the Yiddish, the translation of the Yiddish of versteh nicht. So he said, I thought to myself, if Rashi, he's pretty smart, he said he doesn't know. Then I don't know, this opponent of mine, probably he doesn't know either. So they said, ay, gewalt. Baruch Hashem. Now you see what it is? There's a certain sweetness in the simplicity. When things get complex in life, there's something about just going back to the basics. Just returning to certain simple truths of life. Hashem created the world for our pleasure because He loves us. Simple. That's what matzah is. Pesach. Hashem took us out of Egypt. You're talking to your 4-year-old daughter. What's tonight? Pesach. What happened on Pesach? Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim. Why did He do that? Because He loves us. Yay! It's as simple as that. We're eating matzah. Hashem made plagues. It's simple. Don't make things too complex. Everything in life Hashem is doing because He loves us. Hashem loves us so much. Hashem loves us. Hashem loves humanity. This whole world is a gift for us to enjoy. Appreciate it. You could have 50 PhDs on the wall, but you're missing life. You could be missing life. You were too smart for your own good. Don't be too smart for your own good. Pesach comes and tells you just to be simple again. Keep the main thing, like they say. Keep the main thing. Hashem loves us. He loves all of creation. He wants our good. He's screaming out to us, look, I'm real. Don't get distracted. Don't get lost in the sauce. Hold on to the things that are the true things of life. That's Pesach. Pesach, we keep the main thing, the main thing. We should be Zoycha Mamish, to have that simpleness. Because that simpleness, like we said, the more simple a person is, the more you're like Hashem. Hashem is the Or HaPashut. Hashem is simple, undivided, undifferentiated, pure love. The more simple you could be, the more close you'll be like Hashem. Closeness in physicality is measured in distance. Closeness in spirituality is measured in similarity. The more you could become simple, the more you'll be like Hashem. They say the Baal Shem Tov, he was one of the greatest Kabbalists that ever lived. So when he was a young boy, he would daven from a siddur. A regular siddur like you and I have. And then when he got older, he started davening from the Geschmacka Siddurs, the Ichimayer Siddur, with all the Yud Kei Vav Keis, like every 20 pages another word. And at the end of his life, he went back to davening to a simple Siddur. He said even higher than all the Kavanas is just being simple again. Is saying those words, Baruch, just like a simple child. It's all in the simplicity. To be simple again. To be just pure children of Hashem. Pesach is the time that we become like children that are coming out of their mother's womb. That's what leaving Egypt was. The entire of leaving Egypt was dislodging from the womb and the waters breaking that 7 days later. That's coming out. Kriyas Yamsuf, we're going out of the womb. It's very powerful stuff. Just like a child, we're pure again. Very, very pure. So that's the time we're going to this pure time again. Simple. And the way to get ready for that is get your chametz out. The chametz is the static. The chametz is the Yetzer Hara. The chametz is the things that make you complex and difficult to deal with. When people get older, sometimes they get complex. That's one of the sad things. When someone's single and older, they're like complicated because they got all their stuff going on. That's why generally we say it's a good idea to get married young. Stay in Eshet Torah, we'll take care of you, Baruch Hashem. It's a good idea because you're simpler when you're young. When you get older, we want everybody to get married. When you get older, people get into their complex stuff. So it's harder. Pesach is the message that even if you're a bit older, become simple again. It's a good time. It'll help you get married, you'll see. Become simple, become very, very pashut again. And you'll see all of the emun and all the good things happen from that very simple place. We should be zoicha mamish to the or pashut. We should be zoicha to through this to the or of Pesach. That Nisan, ben Nisan, Nigalu, and Nisan was the salvation. And Asidin, once again, in Nisan, Nigalu, we're going to be Yigalu, we're going to be once again redeemed in the month of Nisan, which is Mamish coming right now. We should be Zoicha Mamish to Mashiach Tzidkeinu b'mheir Aminu. Amen. Have a wonderful day, Rabbi Isai. Call too. Thank you.